Zach Albert, NASCAR.com. What did you both of you guys feel like just about the atmosphere, just the fans, the electricity before the race, and just kind of as it went on?
Yeah, I mean, outside of the atmosphere right now, the rest of it was really, really good. I thought the pre-race ceremonies was pretty cool. The fans being right there, it's what Bowman Gray is, right? You got the fans heckling you and saying whatever they want and saying you're number one in two different ways. And so, I mean, that's what Bowman Gray was built off of. I don't know if you got the boos I got, but overall, I'd say, it was successful, right? I mean, you look at when fans are cheering and screaming and those type of things, the drivers' brands are being exposed to everybody, which is great, right? Like everyone has a favorite or not, and they're passionate about it. And when you get everyone this close, I mean, you look at yesterday, these people hung out from the modified race all the way until the heat, practice through the heat races. It was packed yesterday, and tonight was standing room only. So, from that standpoint, the atmosphere was successful.
Yeah, I agree with Joey. From the crowd yesterday, who hung out for 3 hours from the modifieds to when we first got on track. That's a lot of commitment and a lot of energy on the front stretch before we got going there, and that's what it's all about. So really, really cool to be here, and I'm happy that it was a good show for everybody. So looking forward to hopefully coming back next year. I don't see why you wouldn't come back. So hope everyone had a good time.
All right, go ahead.
Dustin Albino, JC, kind of building off that, like from the weekend overall, whether it was the racing itself or like you guys were mentioning the energy, how fun was this weekend?
I didn't win, so I didn't have that much fun. I don't really do it for fun at this point of my career. So, but I mean, it went better than I thought it could possibly go, right? You look at what the modified race was, and they were wrecking the crap out of each other. And you've seen, some heat races were very aggressive. But I think you got a little bit of everything here, right? You had the restarts where everyone was, bottled up, and I say they're, bulldogging around, right? I mean, that's kind of what it looked like for a while, a lot of contact, and it's very entertaining. Right? I sat there and watched the LCQ, and I'm like, this is an entertaining race. Like, it's pretty good. And I'd say, as the race went on, you've seen the top lane kind of come in a little bit, and you can start to kind of work some crossovers and stuff, and tire wear was real, right? I mean, at the end there, I don't think anyone was getting wide open, not even close probably. So that was fun. I can't remember the last time I went around a racetrack and I didn't get wide open, right? It reminded me a little bit of the old days with the old car, which was a lot of fun, have that tire wear and that fall off to where it's you really got to manage your car and be a smart racer. We don't have that everywhere, so it's nice to see that Goodyear can bring that tire here.
You said there's no reason to come back for either of you can answer this or both. Do you think it's imperative to come back next year, or sometimes for some of these events that NASCAR has had recently, it's almost like the second year isn't as bold as the first? Do you wait a few years and then come back?
You're going to pack it out. There's going to be just as many people here next year if you come back as there was tonight. I don't think it would lose any of its luster. I don't know what you think.
I mean, from what I hear, they pack this place out every weekend without the star power of Cup guys. The people that come here are just race fans. Like, they just like racing. And so, and the other thing too, remember, it's not a huge stadium, right? So you pack it out and it looks good, and the energy's real. And it's not like you have this ginormous stadium and you get, half or 3/4 of it full, right? Like, this is standing room only is kind of it's a special feel. It's hard to get the ticket, which, people want what they can't have, right? Like, a lot of people probably watch this on TV and you weren't able to get the ticket here because there's a limited quantity. That maybe next year they get the opportunity to get tickets, right? Maybe they'll say, man, I need to get on it, and as soon as they start selling them, I need to be on it and get them. Right? I mean, there's a little bit to be said about that as well. But on the same breath, I would say it's very important for us to move things around. We've seen the success of our sport moving to new racetracks, and I'm a big fan of going to new places and bringing the racetrack to the fans that don't typically get to see us because it's so hard to for a lot of people to travel a long ways to see our races. So going to new places is huge for our sport, and we've done that right over the last for 5-6 years. We've added new racetracks quite often. So I think that's successful. Doing the same thing eventually gets stale, but I don't think that's going to happen here anytime soon.
All right, Mark, go ahead.
Mark Carroll, PRN. Was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the atmosphere now without the the flashing lights and the siren. I went up in the grandstands to watch the start of the race, and you could tell that over half the crowd are the regulars, and it was like the rest of them had to be vetted. Either you hardcore, or you weren't allowed in the gate. I don't think I've ever had that kind of vibe at a cup race where only the hardcore were allowed in the gate to watch the race. And I seem to feel that vibe. And did the drivers feel it? And Ryan had told a story when you were here as a Bandolero driver. Remember a 7-year-old kid that was a bird lover and gave you the bird, every lap. I mean, are you conscious of those things? And did you feel that vibe tonight?
Yeah, definitely. It was neat to when you do intros on the front stretch, and kind of park car, fans are right there, right? So it was neat to hear them cheering and supporting you. We don't. There's not a lot of places we go where we kind of do that, where they're that close and that passionate, right? Maybe a lot of them, for whatever reason, everyone wants to have their opinion heard here, right? That's in the stands, and that's awesome to me. Whether good or bad, it's awesome that they're there and they're wanting to interact, and that is a hardcore race fan, right? So, it's I didn't see any birds tonight by the fans. Luckily, my eyesight isn't as good, so I might have been shot some. But no, I just think it was cool, and it was cool for the fans to stick around, for a good bit when we were doing interviews on the front stretch after the race. You could tell they were excited to be here, and they were excited for us to come and put on a heck of a show, and they appreciated, the race and things like that. So they're hardcore race fans, like you said, and you can't beat that anywhere else. And they've been like that here for, how long has this place been around? 90 years. So, you'll have that, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, it was great. I think when you look at whether it was yesterday, whether it was here in person, which was great, watching it on TV was great. There's not a bad seat in the house, which is awesome. And I think the fans, they build off of each other, right? I think as they sit next to each other, and they're that tight of quarters, and I'm sure they start jawing back and forth about who their favorite driver is, and everyone starts cheering louder and louder, right? We have such a unique sport, because when you go to a basketball game, there's a home team, and the majority roots for one team, right? And in our sport, there's 40 of us out there, so it's pretty wild to see. The differences and all that's displayed on the driver intros, and I always say as long as they're making noise, they make noise for me, so that's good. It goes both ways, but it's noise, and that's always good.